Was it like the first time you tried sushi when you were like, this is a weird experience, but I like it the more it's in my mouth? Except, in this case, on my body.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Squad Life Podcast. The best thing since Mickey Mouse was on a steamboat. I'm so excited to introduce today's episode with you, the audience. My name is Camper, and to my left is...
It's Spicy White, 10th episode. I think we've got something special for y'all this week. I'm really excited. To my left, Cody.
What up, what up? Well, I mean, yeah, you just basically introduced me for me. It's Cody Lewis here, to the left of Jake Spicy White Lee. And I'm also excited about tonight's episode. It is the 10th, so sit back, relax, and enjoy our voices. To my left is...
What up, Squadsters? It's Brandon Ward, and I was going to say to my left, but you've already introduced yourself. So just cut that right there.
All right, and we have a good one lined up for you guys today. I've literally been waiting all week for this episode. I'm really excited about this one. As the guys mentioned, this is our 10th episode. Guys, we finally made it. We hit double digits. I didn't believe we'd get there. Scratch that, I did believe it. But we have hit double digits. We've got a good one planned. We're excited to make this one our best episode yet. Let's go ahead and get things started off. Since Jake Lee is to my left, how has your week been, Spicy White?
It's been pretty good. Obviously, coming off Independence Day. I love America, so it's been a pretty good week for me. I was going to tell y'all real quick, I did something today that I promised I would never do. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. I cut grass this afternoon, and I had to go get fitted for my tux this afternoon.
I know what's coming.
I had to take a shower.
And what was the temperature of the shower?
I got in the shower, and I said, well, I got to wash my hair, so I'm going to use hot water. So I washed my hair, and then after I got done washing my hair, I slowly kind of eased that knob a little further over to the middle. It was not cold, but it was much cooler than I would usually take a shower, and it was not terrible.
Was it like the first time you tried sushi when you were like, this is a weird experience, but I like it the more it's in my mouth? Except, in this case, on my body.
That's a bad comparison because sushi is the worst. So, but
well, that's debatable.
I can't believe you thought of that analogy off the top of your head.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird. We didn't plan that.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I just want to say something real quick. I got beated for this when I brought this up, or at least not. I didn't get beated, but y'all were against me on this. And Jake, you're not the only one that has tried this since that episode, right?
Right.
Oh, no.
Who else has?
Well, I was gonna actually mention that whenever it got around to me. But
go ahead. How's your week been, Cody?
well, Jake. I think it was this week that, I mean, I've had, of course, cold showers in the past before, but, this week has been sweltering hot. So I've tried to work outside a few days, just raking leaves, trying to make my yard look a little better. And after sweating off probably 10% of my body weight, I've thought, man, I could really go for a cold shower. And that's exactly what I did. I jumped in the shower, and I did ease into it like you said. And after a while, it did get a little cooler. And lo and behold, sooner or later, I was taking a cold shower, and it felt very nice. But other than that, this week has been just any normal week, like any normal week in school. On the 4th, I was lucky enough to go over to a friend's house and eat some steak, potato salad, baked beans, but then I had to go home and study. So while I was hearing people celebrating our Independence Day a few houses over with fireworks. So, it wasn't bad. My week's been pretty good. Brandon, what about you, bud?
This week's been crazy, out of the ordinary. I'm just kidding. Every week, it comes to me, and I'm just like, it's been the same week over and over again. So I just wanted to enter with something different. Anyway,
are we that boring?
No. I am probably, but anyway, my Samuel's birthday, my son, was Thursday. Had to think about it there for a second. Which was, if you're listening to this, was last Thursday. But we are going to actually do his party tomorrow, Saturday, which if you're listening to this was this past Saturday. And we're doing Super Mario theme. Going to have a lot of friends and family. We're going to be missing Camper because he's all the way in Montana. But the day after he gets back, he will definitely, we'll definitely throw something for him. But pretty much that's been it. Just celebrating Sam's birth, and he's been making sure that we do that because it seems like the day that he turned 2, like it's been terrible. There should be like a phrase for that.
Let's see. What could we call it? The crazy twos?
Yeah.
But
anyway, that's been
terrible.
That's been my week. And what about you, Camp? What you been up to?
This week has been full of excitement, in one sense of the word, I guess. We had our family reunion this past weekend, so we went from Saturday. Was that the 1st? Yeah, the 1st up until the 4th on Tuesday. We packed up and left on Tuesday there. It's always great to see family again. I haven't been to that family reunion, that family side, in like 6 years. So they go all out every other year. So I would very much enjoy being a part of that. Side note, I did play bingo. You guys know this. The audience may or may not, depending on if you follow me on Twitter. But I won a $100 Visa gift card at bingo, and I was very excited, and I made sure to rub it in to young people and old people alike. So, but that was exciting. Possibly even more exciting. I was just prepared to tell you guys about the bingo up until 2 nights ago when the entire state of Montana experienced an earthquake, and it was my first earthquake ever. It felt like I knew it was an earthquake as soon as it happened. My fear was that it was going to be a lot stronger, a lot bigger on the Richter scale. I was afraid for the TV that I was sleeping by, that it would fall off and break. And my dog was sleeping right by me. He stood up. Shout out to Grizzly. He stood up and he was scared. He's scared of everything though. Yeah, I got through it. Felt like I was on like a giant waterbed, if that can tell you guys how it felt, for those that may never have experienced an earthquake before. But that was a rush. I don't know if you can call it exciting, but definitely could not go to sleep for the next 30 minutes. So had to watch a little Netflix.
Were you laying down when this happened, or were you standing up?
No, I was laying down.
Okay. I've always wondered how it what would happen if you were standing up during an earthquake, but we don't have those here, so I'll probably never find out.
There actually is a fault line that can cause earthquakes here. It's called the New Madrid fault line.
Huh.
Yeah, I think I remember a few years ago, North Mississippi kind of experiencing one, but
yeah, and I think we do actually experience microquakes pretty much all the time. It's just we don't feel them.
Right.
So.
Right. And just kind of growing up in Montana, I don't know if you guys did this or anything. Obviously, you've got the fire drills. Maybe in science class or whatever, you had a chemical drill. I don't know what kind of drills you went through. We had an earthquake drill where the whole school pretended that there was an earthquake, and we had to go through a whole safety procedure for it. But
we did tornado drills.
Jake had home invasion drills.
All right, well, I'll catch y'all next week.
Real quick, I do want to just throw out there for people who don't know, Jake was homeschooled. I wasn't just saying that he has spontaneous home invasion drills. I don't want people to think that I'm dark-headed. So,
if you don't know, Jake Lee was homeschooled, and we will be making fun of him for the remainder of this podcast. Not this episode, the entire podcast, however episodes that we have left.
I did spend half my school years in a public school, so don't let him fool you.
He does have some social skills, even if you can't hear him. He's a mixed breed. But, all that said, I was kind of freaked out in the moment. Once I figured out how big it was going to be, I enjoyed it while it lasted. I knew there was going to be an aftershock. which was going to be a smaller earthquake. I felt it, and then I was like, yeah, definitely was an earthquake. But that has been my week. Pretty exciting, to say the least. But I say we keep moving on. Let's go into our main topics. Cody, I believe you have the first one.
I guess it would be wise to have home invasion drills. I don't know. Whatever. All right, so guys, I mean, you know what I'm going to talk about because we are very good at communicating and we discuss topics in our group message. But just to humor me and all our listeners, if I were to say something like, oh, this guy is tall, dark, and handsome, y'all have heard that phrase before. But if I were to switch it up a bit and say like, tall, wears a black suit, has no facial features, and is very white, what comes to your mind?
Camper.
Pee Wee Herman.
Both of those are acceptable. Both of those will work. But actually, Slenderman is what I'm referring to.
Ooh.
And for those of you in our audience, we've already mentioned that this is our 10th episode, and I really wanted to try to correlate the number 10 in a topic some kind of way, and hopefully this will make sense, or none at all, by the end of this topic. But you have probably heard of Slenderman. He's been around for a good little while now, and I didn't know this. I had to look up all this history on him. But the origins of this myth, of this modern legend, started back around 2009, right? So there's this forum going around where people could post funny stuff, crazy stuff, stupid stuff. But I guess a member of this forum had put a challenge out there to people to create scary looking photos. So this guy named Victor Surge, which I'm not sure if this is his real name, kind of sounds made up. But Victor Surge created a photoshopped image of, I guess, the first Slenderman picture. And it has blown up since then, right? So since then, this legend of Slenderman has been a collaborative effort by many people in this forum and on the internet as a whole. So the main, I guess, the canon of Slenderman is spotty and vague at best. Like, we don't know exactly where he came from because it's all made up. Like, it's completely fiction. Some possible origins are from Germany's Black Forest, ancient Egypt, and even in Brazil, apparently. Again, this is all fiction, but in Brazil, cave paintings depict him. Possible appearance, no face, right? So just a straight, white, featureless face, or his face looks different to everybody who sees him, which I don't know which one is creepier to y'all.
Wow.
I would have to say that the no face is probably the creepiest.
That's
I
the
would
one
agree.
I know. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the no face.
Right. I would tend to lean that way too, but if you think about it, like, no two people are going to agree on what he looks like if his face changes every time someone sees him.
But I would run in the total opposite direction if I saw somebody without a nose and a mouth and eyes and other facial features.
And who is like 8 feet tall and is slim as a skeleton, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so more on his appearance. Some mythology has him with tentacles, or in some videos that I've seen on YouTube, when people react to these video games, they'll call them tendrils, which is really funny because I don't even know that's, I guess, a real word. But so tentacles or tendrils, or just like a normal person with arms and hands, right? But he does basically kill you, like he is out to get you. So he either does that by himself or with the help of like a proxy, right? So we've, the four of us have played Slender, The Arrival, I believe is what it was called. And in that, one of the levels has this proxy that would run at you, and it was the goal was to like turn on some generators or something. But if this proxy, this little girl, I think is what it was, would start running at you, you would have to shine a flashlight on her. Does any of this sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can for the audience who may not be tracking with you, can you give the best description of like what exactly this proxy is? Like, what is a proxy?
Well, seen as
like almost like a minion, right? Some kind of
yeah, I
being
guess
that kind of does Slenderman's bidding.
I guess I understand it as maybe like a young kid or just a person in general that has been placed under his spell and is working for him, basically.
Okay.
And I guess that's a good segue into a real story that happened about 3 years ago in Wisconsin, right? So in 2014, two 12-year-old girls, let me emphasize that again, 12-year-old girls were basically trying to fulfill Slenderman's agenda and lured one of their friends out into the woods and stabbed her 19 times in the hopes that she would die and that they would be able to see Slenderman. Right? So I mean this idea of Slenderman that is completely fiction has obviously brainwashed some people out there into thinking that he's real and that if you kill somebody, he'll reveal himself to you. So that's a little bit about the history of Slenderman. Currently, he has been featured in video games, like I mentioned, which it's very funny. Y'all, you as listeners, if you have an Xbox or PlayStation or any means to access a video game of Slenderman, please get a group of friends together and play it, because when we've played it in the past, it is so funny to watch people's reactions. Like when
it's funny.
When Spicy was playing it at one point, I believe he like jumped in someone's lap, right? Like he is that right?
Yeah, it's Brandon.
Yeah. Like
I know exactly what part of the game it was too.
That's amazing. But please, I mean, these games are freaky. They are creepy. So I mean, the best time to play it is at night. That's the best, most appropriate time to do it. But get a squad together and play it, because it's more fun that way. So he's been in games. He's been on YouTube videos, of course, photoshopped pictures, but edited videos also of people adding him in. And look these up sometime. They're pretty creative. They're pretty cool looking. But there was a documentary that was made, and I wish I would have written this down. But it was based on this Wisconsin incident, right? It's called Beware the Slender Man, which to me sounds more like the name of a horror movie than a documentary.
Yes.
But there is, looking to the future, apparently in 2018 there will be a movie released, about Slenderman. I don't think there's a name for it yet. It may just be called Slenderman. But, there is a movie slated to release next year, and I am looking forward to that. And I think all of us should be in attendance.
I'll be there.
I might be there. I don't know. I might be busy that weekend.
You're going, Camper.
Brandon,
When
what
we
are your
find out
thoughts
the
on the movie?
date, we will write it in pen.
Yeah, and I couldn't find a specific date. It just said 2018. But and the director for this, Brandon, you know a lot about directors and stuff. Sylvain White, or Sylvan White. Does that name sound familiar?
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar. If anything, I from what I've gathered, it's going to be kind of a small project. It's not going to be like an Insidious or a Conjuring size budgeted movie. If it even happens, it may get canceled, because it's been canceled before. I mean, it's been slated to come out, and every couple of years they just push it back, more and more. So hopefully it comes out, because usually around this time you would at least get a trailer or something. So
Right.
Yeah, but that's so weird to me, because I mean, the fans pretty much made Slenderman who he is and how big he is. I mean, you would think that the popular demand would be for a movie. It's just waiting to be made.
Right. And I think that, something like this, something like Slenderman just doesn't go away. So just like other urban legends, people are still out there trying to search for Bigfoot. Right? So these ideas, these myths don't go away. So Slenderman is here to stay, I believe. But I do hope that this movie is a real thing and that it does happen, because I want to see it.
Yes.
Me too.
But that's basically all I have for Slenderman. And if you missed it, the number 10, tentacles, tendrils. It was in it was in there, listeners, I promise. But that's all.
I don't know what's creepier, Cody telling the story or like my view of him right now, because like we're on Skype because we're all in different locations and his room is really dark right now. And I don't know if it's the way my laptop is or not, but like his face is cut in half, so I'm only seeing half of his face. So as he's describing this, it's like really sketchy looking. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. It definitely added to the fear factor of you telling about Slenderman.
It's not on purpose, but I'm looking at it now and it kind of looks like I'm in black and white.
Yeah, it's very similar on my screen.
Nice.
Anyway,
the lighting is definitely weird in your room.
you mentioned that we played the game Slender Arrival, and Cody, you and I, we came across Slenderman at the exact same time through YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what sparked our interest, and then we kind of saw that there, we would look up, shout out to PewDiePie, a game guy on YouTube that plays horror games, but we came across some of his stuff. We were like, we got to play this game. So one night we found out that we could get it for like $3, and
right.
we had all the guys come over, our squad, and we played it. And I just want to point something out. Nobody would play this game besides me, and then maybe one or two other guys. Like, that was it. Camper would not touch the game.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I played.
So like
you did, yes.
You did play, but you also jumped in my lap, so kind of negates you even playing.
Well, I that's the thing. I like scary movies.
That's something I can have on your fiance, is that you always jump to me in my arms before you were ever in hers.
That's true. And if I was in the same situation, I'd do it again.
Man, that was a good night.
But as I pointed out before, Camper, is there a reason why you didn't want to touch the game at all when we played? Because you didn't touch it at all.
Yeah, so no, I did end up playing it. I didn't play it at first because I don't really like scary things. I have come to enjoy scary movies with friends simply because it's a fun time. But other than that, I just don't I'm not going to go watch a scary movie by myself or play a scary game by myself. I'm just not going to do it. But a few things about that time that we spent together. I believe that was one of the first times that the four of us really got together and developed this friendship. Like, this is something I was thinking about today. Like, this is, thinking of Slenderman, that is where, the squad developed, right? Would you guys agree?
Yeah, so we can actually thank Slenderman for bringing us together.
Individuals do get close when they jump in each other's laps.
You have nothing to do but to get close.
Or when all of us scream at the top of our lungs. That's really
true.
Connects us.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had on the topic. So I believe, Spicy, you have our next one.
That's correct. So as I'm sure you've caught on by now, this is the 10th episode, the 10th installment of The Squad Life. So I have decided to compile a list of my top 10 favorite athletes of all time. So this goes across every sport, regardless of of the reason why they're in my top 10, whether it's they played on a team I like, or whether I just think they're an amazing athlete, or whether they accomplished great things or whatever on or off the field, doesn't matter. So I have compiled my top 10, and I've asked these three guys to, when I get done, before I finish, I'm going to get them to give me their favorite athlete. So I know this is really difficult. It was really difficult for me anyway, so I'm sure it was even more difficult on you to narrow it down to just one. But I'm going to start with number 10. I haven't watched a ton of boxing in my life, but the boxing I have watched has typically been old boxing, and I really enjoy watching videos of Muhammad Ali fight. So he's going to be number 10 on my list. I think he, great athlete, great fighter, just the right amount of confidence. We'll call it that. Number 9, This might catch a couple of y'all off guard. Roger Federer.
Okay.
I really started keeping up with tennis, major tennis anyway, when Roger Federer was at his peak.
Yeah.
Really enjoy watching all the majors now. Roger Federer, just a really fun guy to watch play back in the day. Him and Nadal were really fun to watch back a few years ago. So he's going to come in at number 9. Number 8, Derek Jeter. Obviously, longtime shortstop for the Yankees. Am not a Yankees fan. Absolutely hate the Yankees. There's not a team. Maybe Ole Miss would be the only other sports club that I absolutely hate with a passion. But I hate the Yankees. But I do like Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, just the captain, what they call him, one of the best to ever play it. He's going to come in at number 8. Number 7, the lefty, my boy Bubba Watson.
Yeah.
I will forever remember his first Masters championship. If you don't watch golf, he hit an impossible shot. And for people that do play golf, he hit an impossible shot. Literally drew the ball on a 90-degree angle and almost a little bit backwards to stick the green out of the pine straw at Augusta there at the Masters Championship. And that is when I really started loving Bubba Watson. Very unconventional swing for a golfer, but the guy can play. At least he could for a little while there. Number 6, Michael Jordan, the GOAT. Had to throw him on there. Hands down the best to ever play basketball. Number 5, this guy, strictly on here because the guy was a tremendous athlete. Did everything he ever competed in. I think he was the best at. Bo Jackson, the two-sport athlete. I think is he the only athlete to ever make the All-Star game in 2 sports?
I think you're right, but
I don't remember.
I'm just going off the top of my head.
I don't remember if Deion Sanders
I
made
believe
it
he
or not.
is.
I know Deion played and was very good at football and baseball. Number 4, I'm going to catch some backlash on this one, I know, so already prepared myself for this one. But
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. And it's also ironic because he wears number 4 now. But went to, obviously, my favorite school. Played football at Mississippi State, the most accomplished by far, hands down, the best football player to ever step foot on campus. Just the way he turned that program around the corner, if you will, kind of got him over out of the 6-1-7 win slump there for a while. Got him to new levels. And I think Dak Prescott will always be remembered as the best athlete to ever play at Mississippi State, such as Archie Manning or what were you going to say?
I said he's also going to be really remembered for his ability to write autographs really, really quick.
Yes. Nobody writes an autograph faster than Dak Prescott.
Wow.
Eli Manning's pretty quick with him, too. Number 3, the longtime third baseman for my favorite baseball team, the Atlanta Braves, Chipper Jones.
Yes.
I think probably the best player that I remember playing in Atlanta. He got drafted, or I know I think his first season was 96, I believe. It may have been 95. I think it was the World Series year, actually. But, he played as long as I remember. I grew up watching him. An incredible baseball player, switch hitter, one of the best switch hitters to ever play. And, I hate that he got injury prone there towards the end of his career. Well, he really battled it his whole career, but he, I will always enjoy watching him make some incredible defensive plays at third, and his home run swing was not as smooth as Ken Griffey, but it was smooth, and I loved watching him hit home runs and just hit, period. So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and ask Cody, who is your favorite athlete of all time?
Well, that's hard for me to pick favorite athlete of all time. Just like you said, it was hard to make your top 10 list, which I'm sure was very difficult trying to figure out 10. But two, one, two that I thought of right before we started recording. I really enjoy watching the Olympics. That is a sporting event that I will watch quicker than anything else. And two of my favorite athletes in the Olympics in the past, I guess one from the winter and one from the summer. For the Winter Olympics, I really have enjoyed when he was competing, Apollo Ono. Right, so he was
the speed skater.
Yeah, he was a terrific athlete. He won a lot. He was probably the equivalent of a Michael Phelps to speed skating. And then for the Summer Olympics, I chose Carrie Walsh Jennings, the volleyball player, right, for dominating in her sport. So those would be my two if I were to pick.
Those are two pretty good ones. I like that. I haven't even thought about Olympic athletes. Obviously, one of them that comes to my mind, Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
The fastest man alive. Yeah. He obviously a very incredible athlete. He's really, to be honest with you, the only Olympic athlete that I can name, I think, besides like Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy watching the Olympics though. Brandon, I know that I'm sure it's very tough to narrow it down to one, but if you could do it,
I can't do one, man. Like I've been thinking about this for weeks, and I had to. I slowly used filters. Like I told myself, I'm not going to do all time. I'm just going to do current. And I kept telling myself, kind of X out some stuff. Anyway, so what I did was I picked just two people who within this past week that I'm just like, man, I really love this guy and they're athletes. I think it's going to take a whole, segment for me just to fill out, who the greatest of all time for me is, like it is for you, man. So just two that I just really, really, really like, that just this past week I was reminded of how much I really like and respect them beyond their athleticism. One is Colt McCoy, and that kind of like Dak Prescott to you, y'all would expect that from me. And just to kind of give a brief summary of why is, he's not a starter in the NFL. But he had a fantastic career as a quarterback for the University of Texas.
Sure did.
Broke a lot of records. The way he handled the 2009 national championship when he was injured very early on, the game could have been a game changer. Not going to say that we would have won, but it was a game-changing injury. Just the way he handled that, and just the way he handles himself in the NFL, just constantly working, hoping that he can have a chance to be a starting quarterback. I respect those type of quarterbacks in a professional sport, or those type of athletes in a professional sport that are just constantly working. And then the last one, the other one that I just want to do real quick, if I was to say who would y'all think would be my favorite current NBA athlete, who would y'all think it would be? Just off the top of your head.
Russell Westbrook.
Okay. See, that's what I thought you were going to say. And, athleticism, pure athleticism, But if I was just going to hang out with one guy in the NBA currently right now, obviously from the OKC Thunder, which is my team, it would be Steven Adams, the Kiwi.
I can see
and
that.
It's just because he's such a chill guy and just very humble, very, very humble. And you don't see that a lot nowadays in the NBA. Whenever you think of humbleness, you think of a Tim Duncan or somebody like that. So that's why I like him. So those two are my top athletes, I would say, just kind of right now, beyond the athleticism, just personalities of who I would like to hang out with.
Nice.
I like it. And let me add, I do think Texas wins the 2009 national championship with Colt McCoy. That's just my personal opinion, and I don't like Alabama, so that probably helps me make my mind up on that. Camper, what do you got?
Okay. Like those before me, I couldn't narrow it down to one, so I kind of bent the rules a little bit. I did narrow it down to one, but I picked one from the four major sports. So, real quickly, hockey, I played this my entire childhood. All these guys are retired, by the way. Favorite player to watch, Wayne Gretzky, the great one, obviously. He changed the game. All these people, in my opinion, are electric players. They're fun to watch, talented, and they changed the game. Football, I picked Terrell Owens. I think Terrell Owens really redefined the wide receiver position, and he just made football fun for me. Also, my brother had a Terrell Owens jersey from the 49ers that got passed down to me, and I wore that thing out.
Nice.
Baseball, you said his name before, although he didn't make your list. I don't know why. Ken Griffey Jr., obviously. Everyone wore their hat backwards, pretended to be the kid.
Yes.
obviously love Junior. And for basketball, I had to, but I'm going to pick one. The one I did not pick was Shaq. I think he changed the game. He was really the last great big man until the game changes again. But the player I'm going with is Magic Johnson,
I like it.
the other great Laker that changed the game. He was electric. He brought Showtime to L.A., and I think they won like 3 championships in the 80s. So I think those 4 retired players are my favorite to learn about, my favorite to watch, and just all-around greats in their respective sports.
I think that's a very good list there. Very, very good, very well thought out list by all of y'all, and great points. So before I mention these last 2, I'm going to kind of throw an honorable mentions out there. Gotta throw out Andrew Jones, that played for the Braves. He was the guy that was the man when I was first starting to play baseball for Atlanta. Well, I didn't play for Atlanta. He played for Atlanta.
I was about to say, when did you play for Atlanta?
he was the guy. He was a young kid at the time, and he is a big reason why I love baseball today, or got into baseball, and I love baseball today. Another guy, like you said, King Griffey Jr., smoothest swing. I could watch him swing a baseball bat all day. Oh, guys like Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, guys that like you said a second ago, Camper, electric athletes in the NFL. You said Terrell Owens, T.O. Those are some great athletes. I even talked to Brandon earlier briefly, mentioned Ricky Williams. Guys like that, I love watching guys like that play, physical running backs. Obviously he kind of trended downward there towards his last couple of years in the NFL, but should not be taken away from what he accomplished early on in his career. So now to my last 2. I knew these 2 guys were going to be at the top of the list, and I'm sure you will not be surprised by these 2.
Yeah, I think I can guess.
But I could not go with number 1 and 2. I had to go with 1A and 1B. So 1B, the Sheriff, Peyton Manning. I have a Colts jersey, Peyton Manning jersey, hanging up in the closet. I think I had a Colts watch back in the day when he was playing for the Colts. Love Peyton Manning. One of the best to ever play quarterback. If it wasn't for Tom Brady, I think you'd be saying easily Peyton Manning is the best quarterback to ever play. Peyton Manning is somebody I've always loved watching play football ever since I could even understand what was happening. I love Peyton Manning, but the guy that I loved the most when I was a little kid, and he's gonna get the 1A spot. The guy from South Mississippi, Brett Favre, number 4.
Yep.
Loved Brett Favre when I was really little. I was a Packers fan, I guess you could say, when I was a kid, all because of Brett Favre. I loved the fact that he was from Mississippi when I was a little kid. I thought he was the greatest thing. I thought he was probably the only player in the NFL that even amounted to anything when I was a little kid. Little did I know that there were some really good athletes up there at the time. But I loved watching Brett Favre play, and when he went to Minnesota, that last run he had, got to the NFC Championship game. That was just crazy times. That was probably the most fun I've ever had watching NFL football. I think to see I think he was 40 at the time, running around, making incredible plays and just taking hit after hit, and he gets up, just tough as nails guy. So anyway, that's my top 10 list. You may disagree with some. I'm sure some people would say Dak Prescott doesn't belong on there, but he definitely belongs on there in my opinion. Thank y'all for giving me y'all's top athletes on your list. So listeners, let me know what you think. Do you agree with my list? Do you have a different list? Would you make some changes? Who's your favorite athlete? Shout us out on Twitter and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Thanks, Spicy. That rounds out our two main topics. We'll now be moving into our individual segments. And we didn't really plan this out, but Spicy, I believe you have the next individual segment. So what you got?
All right, so I hope you're not getting tired of listening to me, but this will be kind of brief. This next story caught my eye. I was looking at the internet earlier and saw this one. Kind of got a chuckle out of this. So first of all, let me say that rodents for pets is a stupid idea. But anyway, there was this little girl that apparently her hamster had not been moving for, I believe it was 3 days. Like, just wasn't moving. And I guess for some reason they like, I feel like if my pet didn't move for 3 days, I would probably have done something before the 3-day mark. But anyway, she finally reacts, and they take the hamster to the vet, which, it's a hamster. I don't know why you would take it to the vet anyway. I don't even take my dogs to the vet. But anyway, they take the hamster to the vet, set it out on the table, and it's walking around acting fine. It's eating, it's drinking, doing, what hamsters do. And, they were saying, well, I really don't understand what's happening here. I don't know why this hamster is, was pretty much dead, just a little bit ago. And the vet gets to messing around with the hamster and looks inside of its mouth, and she says, has this hamster been loose? And they said, well, we were cleaning its little kennel thing or whatever out, its cage out, and it did get under the fridge back, just a couple of days ago. And she said, I don't think it was under there very long. Anyway, so they got the hamster out and they put it back in the cage, and that's when it wasn't moving anymore. Well, anyway, the vet found a magnet inside the mouth of the hamster. And the hamster had been stuck to the side of its cage for 3 days.
No.
So this poor hamster's been stuck to the side of the cage for 3 days. It can't move. It's just stuck there. And for some reason, these owners aren't freaking out that the hamster ain't moved in 3 days. So, a couple morals from the story there. First of all, don't have a rodent as a pet. Secondly, if you're gonna have a rodent as a pet, please don't let it get under your fridge. That's the worst place for anything to go, is under your fridge. But that's really all I had for this for my individual topic. I thought that was pretty funny. I wanted to share that with y'all. I got a kick out of it. So
Nice, that was pretty funny.
Cody, do you have is it you next?
Yeah. So in the past, I have talked about how in anatomy lab, some days we will do a palpation lab, and just to remind everybody what that means is we feel on each other, basically, right? We're feeling for certain muscle bellies, we're feeling for certain bony structures, and today we did leg palpations, and included with the leg was the gluteal region, aka the butt. we in fact, the thing that you're sitting on right now, your butt is supported by something called the ischium, more specifically the ischial tuberosity, and we had to palpate that today. We had to touch that on someone else today. Right, so we had to for science.
For science, right?
For physical therapy. Woohoo.
Yeah.
But no, we had, our partner to basically put their foot up in a chair. They're standing up, put their foot up in a chair, so their knee and their hip is, at a 90-degree angle.
They're Captain Morganing it.
Right, okay, yeah. They're posing like Captain Morgan. And we have to basically take our fingers and go almost to the butt crack, right? In anatomy terms, it's the natal cleft. But
are you sure you didn't sign up for proctology?
At this point, I'm questioning that. But nah, they say it's still physical therapy, so I'm still along for the ride. But no, so we had to feel this structure, and it's really cool. I mean, because you can feel it if you run your fingers up under there, close enough to the booty crack. But
No.
that was it's one of those things where, again, it could be awkward, but if you don't really think about it and you just think to yourself, okay, I'm doing this for class, doing this for science, it kind of goes by a little bit easier. But just the fact that if you think about it now, it's kind of awkward. So that's
gonna be a tough pill to swallow either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that was this.
Sounds like something that should just stay in the classroom.
Yeah. Well, now it's out there on the sound waves,
right,
in the airwaves. So
everyone to hear.
That's my awkward Cody for the week.
Sweet.
I guess it's time for me.
Yep, go ahead with it, Brandon.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, Sam's birthday parties was Saturday, and his birthday was the Thursday before the Saturday. And we're doing a Super Mario party, which is weird, doing theme parties for a kid. Because as growing up, I never had one theme party. But, I was just kind of thinking of, real quick, I wanted to ask, because like I said, I didn't have, theme parties growing up as a kid. Birthdays weren't something that was really celebrated, growing up. So my question, quickly, but for y'all is, did y'all have a themed birthday party, and what was the best themed party growing up that you had as a kid? Starting with you, Camper.
Off the top of my head, I'm sure I did. I don't remember having a theme, like a specific one. The birthday I do remember the most is when we rented out a place with like those inflatable obstacle courses or slides or whatever. That was my favorite birthday party for sure. So you could say it was like slide themed. I don't know.
Right.
That's mine.
Rental themed. Okay. What about you, Jake?
I don't remember having but one really, I guess, quote unquote birthday party where like other kids came over and we had a party. I don't think there was a theme to it though. But I was, after that, I think I was like 4, maybe 5. But after that, I was given the option of having a party or going to do something, and I don't like people that much, so I never had parties. So the one that sticks out the most would be one time we went to the battleship, the USS Alabama in Mobile.
Yeah.
With a few friends of mine, we went and spent the day there. But that I guess you could have a ship or Navy themed party if you wanted to go with that one. But that's the birthday I remember the most.
What about you, Cody?
Man, my memory sucks. So if I had a theme party, I don't remember it. But I don't think I did. My birthday's in December, so you can't really do too much with theme. You can't do like a pool party or anything. But I do remember having birthday parties at the bowling alley and skating rink, I believe.
Okay, so I think we all have in common that our memory is really bad.
Yeah.
But one thing, I did want to share a dad moment with y'all because I just thought about it. I actually just thought of it right now as we were going around the circle. So I mentioned that Sam turned 2 yesterday. But today, he has found out that he can pull his diaper down and his pants down very easily. And he's kind of learning the anatomy of being a boy.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were getting his stuff ready for his party, and as we're getting the party ready, he brings his potty trained toilet to the kitchen, and we're just like, oh, he's playing around with his toilet. It's cool. We didn't know that he pulled his pants down and took his diaper off, and all of a sudden we hear him say, "I TT'd," and we looked and we're like, oh, he used the pot. And like we looked around and we looked in there and there was nothing there. And what we didn't notice is that there was a little bit of wetness coming to our foot, and it was urine. He did TT. He did not TT on the pot. So you think that's bad?
That's
So about 20 minutes go by. I'm in the living room. My wife Debbie, she's still in the kitchen, kind of getting things ready, and all of a sudden we hear like him passing gas a lot. And so we look to the kitchen, and it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be. But anyway, we looked at actually it's still bad. We looked to the kitchen, and he squatted down. I was like, okay, we got to get over there quick.
Yeah.
And he peed again. First of all, he took his pants back off. He took his diaper back off because we had put that joker back on. He took it back off. He took all of it off, and he peed again. And as Debbie's going to get Clorox wipes and paper towels, he sticks his hand in it, rubs it on the floor, and attempts to put it in his mouth.
Nice.
So there's that right there, my friends, is the joy of being a father, and that is a dad moment that I will eventually blackmail him with.
Wow.
Brandon, are you sure you're not raising a dog?
I don't know, man. I
No,
question myself sometimes.
if he was raising a dog, he could put Sam's nose in it. But Sam is a human.
Like I said, I just want to be a fly on the wall for each of you three for when you have kids, because I want to see how y'all handle these situations. But anyway, that's all I have.
I'm gonna call you for advice.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Brandon, for that. Some might say enjoyable segment. I sure wouldn't. But moving into the next segment, it's time for What the Freak, and I guess to commemorate our 10th episode, our 10th recording, I would try to figure out a way to incorporate the number 10. And I mean, I'm indifferent towards the number 10, so it itself is not a what the freak. But instead, I'm going to kind of go the route Spicy took and make a top 10 list. And instead of using 10 topics that could be used for another 10 episodes, what I did was I made a list, and the list name is kind of David Letterman style, 10 things that make me say what the freak that won't ever have an entire segment on another episode. So, real quickly, going through the list. Number 1, I cannot stand glitter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Same.
I used to be indifferent towards it,
The worst.
and then my sister is like in this glitter phase. It is everywhere. I cannot stand glitter. If you are a fan of glitter, please don't ever come around me, because then glitter will be on me. So we are mortal enemies.
Real
from
quick,
this
I've
point
heard
forward.
I've heard it called the herpes of craft supplies. Like
I hate the cards, man.
It gets on everything, and you can't get rid of it.
Oh, I can't. I just thinking about it, and it's like somewhere, and you gotta scratch it 5 times to get it off finally.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 2. I got 10 things to get through, and a lot of hate to do it in, and very little time. Number 2, this is something that in my opinion could be an entire segment, but I cannot stand it when I have leftovers in the fridge, and some family member just decides, hey, this looks good, I'm gonna eat it, right?
Yeah.
Like you go to the
Don't
restaurant,
miss those days.
you get a burger and fries, and you cut that burger in half, and you separate your pile of fries into half. You eat half there. You're like, hey, this would make a nice lunch for tomorrow, right? Tomorrow morning comes around, and it's like your brother, or in my case, my stepdad, or my dad even. I don't know who it is, but they just eat my food. And it's like, man, personal space, please. Number 3.
I feel like you're gonna be that dad though that eats your kid's food.
No, I feel so
go
strongly
ahead.
about this that I will not eat another person's food in the same refrigerator as my food. Number 3, along the same lines as food, I have recently come to grips with how much I hate loud eaters. If you don't know how to close your mouth when you chew, and you're letting the world hear how delicious your food is, trust me, they are not enjoying it as much as you. Number 4, this is something that I have experienced a couple times in my life, only down in Mississippi. It's not here in Montana. I cannot stand poison ivy. I don't know who does. I just hate it so much that it made this list. Like, you get the rash, you scratch it, and it just doesn't go away, right? It gets on your clothes, and it gets in other places.
It helps if you're not allergic to it.
Well, I would like to meet those people, and I would say that
We've met one.
we donate their blood to scientific research so that they can share their wealth with the rest of the world. That
Well, please don't come take my blood from me.
I envy you. Number 5. This is just a weird little quirk of mine. I hate it when people put on my glasses. Like, if I set them down for something, I hate it when they put on my glasses and they're like, oh, wow, you actually do have terrible eyesight. It's like, obviously, I have glasses. I don't need you to tell me. It's like, I don't have moderately bad eyesight, and anyway, it's not prescribed for you, so how can you tell? It's going to be blurry for you anyway. Unless we have the same prescription. Then it's really weird. Number 6. Spicy, I don't know if you count your truck as in this category, but I hate jacked up trucks. Like, I don't get the redneck craze. It's even moved up here to Montana, so
I'm with you on that.
I just don't get the craze. Like, if you got to jack up your truck, I feel like you're compensating for other areas in your life where, never mind. Number 7,
We're gonna have to talk about that at a later date.
Number 7, this is something that I recently attacked somebody on Twitter with a few days ago, actually a few weeks ago. I hate it when people fold their pizza. And there's one exception to this.
Yes.
There's the New York style, which is meant to be folded, and that pizza is delicious. But if it's any other pizza, if you get DiGiorno pizza and you're folding that stuff, and all you taste is the crust, no, thank you. I don't want to taste the bottom side of a pizza. Don't fold that pizza. It's not a taco. Number 8. This I've never understood. This is how furious I am about this. I've never understood the concept of enjoying this. I hate it when people, or even I hate it when people use sliced bread to eat a hot dog. Right? If there's no hot dog buns, I'm not eating a hot dog. First of all, I don't really like hot dogs. That should be on the list as well. But if it's all I have to eat, if it's all I have to eat, I'm not eating it with a sliced piece of bread. I'm eating it with a hot dog bun, something that was designed for it.
I'll use a slice of bread.
Are you cutting the hot dog in half and then eating it as a sandwich, or are you wrapping the bread around the hot dog?
You wrap it around the hot dog like a hot dog bun.
Okay.
I have consumed 10 hot dogs.
I've consumed one in the past year.
All were eaten on a piece of.
Jake, I knew
that
you
is
and
disgusting,
I was the same
by the way.
person.
So if you put ketchup on it, your bun is all soggy. Thank you. No, thank you. Number 9. This is something that we had up at the family reunion. It was kind of like at some Girl Scout camp. I don't know how else better to describe it. At the side of a lake. It was kind of like you're kind of toughing it, but not really. So there was a bathroom, but it's kind of out in the wilderness. All it had was 1-ply toilet paper.
Oh.
I hate one-ply toilet paper. Like, if you're thinking that you're going to save money by making 1-ply toilet paper, I'm just going to get double the amount and fold it. Right. I'm very picky about my toilet paper. I have an unpopular opinion about how it goes, but we're not going to get in there. Number 10. Last thing.
Oh, boy.
And speaking of birthdays, we didn't plan this again, Brandon. It just happened to be this way. I hate when people sing happy birthday to me.
Same.
Right? People are all around the room,
Really?
and they're singing to you, and your face is red. You don't know whether to smile or you want to sing along, but you can't. You're just sitting there with the cake in front of you. Everyone's looking at you. Have you ever been sung to, like, by a group of
especially
people?
at a restaurant,
that,
man.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just maybe, but I'm talking about family members too. Like, it's just any occasion of it.
I
would
hate
just
even
rather not
singing
be
it
there.
to people. It's all off key.
I would rather, yeah. I mean that to me that's okay because I mean I'm not getting sung to, and I know exactly what to do in the situation. But
I don't mind it all that much, but I will say in that moment, about 10 seconds in, you start to think to yourself, this is kind of a little bit weird, dude. You know, I've got 10 people in here and they're singing to me, and I'm just standing here.
Yep. So those are my 10. Pretty non-negotiable there. A lot of them we all agreed on. But I am looking forward. I've got some great ones that I've been saving up there. A lot of hatred. I even mispronounced some words in this last one. A lot of hatred here. But that's this week's installment of What the Freak. Real quickly, rounding out our episode, Jake, do you have a plug for the people?
Yes. The queen size bed. I have slept on little beds my whole life, and as you all know, at this point, I'm getting married in less than a month, and my fiance went ahead and moved her queen-size bed in here. So she's sleeping, which I think she's still sleeping on a queen-size bed. But anyway, So I've been getting to sleep on a queen size bed, and it is so amazing. I just get to roll and roll and roll. I mean, one day I hope I move up to the king size bed, and it's gonna be really amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm gonna plug the queen size bed. So, kids, there is something to look forward to when you grow up.
The grass is
You
greener.
get a big bed.
The grass is greener and the beds are bigger. Jake, I don't mean to one up you, bud, but this house that I'm in, it was already provided, so I'm not taking credit for it. I was just blessed. This house that I'm in has a king size bed.
Okay.
And it
We're not
is
friends
amazing.
anymore.
I can roll and roll and roll and extra roll.
I'm not gonna speak to you tomorrow at the birthday party.
But my plug, all right? So I'm going to plug the TV show, which is on Netflix now, not on TV anymore, Parks and Rec. All right? So whenever I need a study break, or when I'm eating supper or dinner, whatever you want to call it, I watch an episode of Parks and Rec, and it makes the study breaks so much more fun. It makes supper so much more, enjoyable. So that's my plug. Parks and Rec. Check it out.
And I also, Jake, want to say I've had a king-size bed starting when I was a teenager. So, sorry, bud. Anyway, my plug...
I didn't realize I was underprivileged.
My plug for this week is Mario, because, Sam's having a Mario-themed birthday party tomorrow, and it just brings back memories of growing up playing on the N64 and, just the other Nintendo platform. So I just wanted to plug Mario, and if you've never played Mario Party, then you should rethink your life.
Sweet.
Nice.
Last week I plugged a book. I mentioned that I'm going to read another book. Right now I'm currently reading that book. I'm not plugging the book itself, but the book is about, in my opinion, one of the greatest coaches of all time, John Wooden, college men's basketball coach from UCLA. Anyway, just the guy himself, he's very quotable. He's got a lot of famous quotes. He's known for being a man of faith, of humility, and kind of redefining success in those lights. But if you have a chance, if you're a coach, a parent, a person of influence or anything, check out John Wooden's Pyramid of Success. I think it's a great resource for any leader or any person of influence. But that rounds out our plugs for the week. We've got a few announcements. Cody, I believe you have the first.
Yeah, so we have mentioned this before, and just to remind you that all of us, will be, writing blogs and posting them to our website, which is squadforlife.com. So go to that website, find the link that says blogs. I believe there are 3 now, one from myself, Brandon, and Camper. We're still waiting on Jake to write one. Don't know when he's going to do it. But if you ever find yourself bored and wanting something to read, then go to that website, click on blogs, and read until your heart's content.
That's right. And as far as announcements goes, just rounding it off, once again, we remind you every episode, we've got social media pages on the Twitter, the Facebook. That's it. Twitter page is @_SquadLife. Spelled exactly how it sounds. On Facebook, just the Squad Life Podcast. Go give us a like or follow us there. That's where we announce every big announcement, releasing of episodes, releasing of blogs, the like. And very quickly, also want to encourage you guys to, if you own an iPhone or any sort of Apple product, and however you listen to our show, we would greatly appreciate you giving us a review. However you feel, 4 or 5 stars. I don't know. If you like the show, give us 5 stars. Write a review for us. It really helps us out. And as we grow and as the Squad Life grows and as we mature as well. So that kind of rounds out the episode. I believe that's everything that we have. I hope the 10th episode was as enjoyable for you guys to listen to as it was for us to create. And do you guys have anything else to say?
Well, I do. Brandon, at the very beginning, you were talking about how terrible Sam has gotten since turning 2, and you said there should have been a phrase for that. What about terrible twos?
I don't know. It doesn't sound as good.
It just doesn't roll off the tongue.
You're right. That may not catch on. All right, well, I think that is it. Jake, hit him with the see ya.
See ya.